get started, call our meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the July 2nd meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Any questions? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, items are approved. Item 3 is to move for approval of per diem expenses for today's meeting and for any expenses through the September 3rd meeting. Any motion?
Sure. So,
any questions? All in favor? Nays. All right, moving on. Reports. OPTFM emergency purchases. Questions there?
Dan, quick question. The North Mississippi, all the vehicles. You had 2 emergency purchases, 1 for 1, 1 for 5. I don't know. Isn't that a little bit late trying to be buying off state contract?
Yes, I mean the model order events.
Do they understand it now?
They should.
I mean, the reason I'm saying that is that you know, we're talking about they've already started reworking for the 2026s, and you're just really not going to find any. It sounded like from the letters that those vehicles were in pretty poor shape.
They were
to start with. And when you got that many, I would just thought that it might have been something that the October
thought about. Yeah, or waited. Yeah, it sounded like they needed them now. They transport patients, whatever they said.
I was just curious because I know that Ross and I have talked about it over the years that they cut the state contract stuff off pretty quick, and especially when you're limited in some of the vehicles that they're talking about. I'm just curious. It might be something they need to look at from a planning standpoint.
Yeah, if there be some planning ahead and forecasting the need.
I mean, it may be a budget issue. They didn't have money last year and you need it. Well, I agree.
Okay. Comment, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
I find that all of a sudden 23 vehicles are inoperable and 3 are beyond damage repairs. 26 vehicles at one time, they got a scrap. So now they need an emergency. That you know, not knowing the people, not knowing the system, that just sounds like piss poor planning to me. You know, I mean, how do you have 26 vehicles you can't use and not knowing you needed to do it? What is there a solution to that? Is there an agency that suggests that you guys need to step it up, or I mean, what do you do about that?
Agencies, they are, it's on their own merit. We have no oversight over those emergencies.
Who can go on there and say
That'll go to the legislature.
That needs to go to the legislature? So Mississippi Regional Center comes back to the legislature. They say, "I need money." So you ain't getting it because you ain't managing the money you got very well. I mean, is that kind of how it works?
I mean, these integrated results.
Okay, all right. As long as I know how it works, we can get something done. But that's unacceptable.
We're going to be approving a letter today going to the legislature for emergency purchases.
That's right. Emergency and sole sources.
And I don't know if it'll be this month, and it may be because it's June, but they might have explained that to the legislature.
Someone needs to.
Well, I want to say just from having FO at State Hospital, we would probably always have 26 vehicles that were not really operable. Will not be roadworthy, I should say. You could use them around the campus. And we have about $600,000 a year for equipment on the 350-acre campus with 1,300 patients. So I'd budget out 400,000 of it, keep 200,000 for emergencies, and then we'd budget that out at the end of the year. But because we would always have a chiller or a vehicle, something would die that you actually had to replace. But it was hard to be strategic in replacing vehicles because they were expensive. But still, it doesn't advertise or get it off contract. And sometimes it has to do with when you're.
Well, this,
Budget.
it was the timing for the state
Yeah.
contract system.
So, all right, any thoughts there? We don't approve that.
That's
Move
right.
forward. All right, so the next, sole source contract. Questions? Question. All right, hearing none, moving on to OPTFN staff approvals. Questions or comments? None, most of those competitive purchase agreements. All right, next item, BOB staff approvals. Any comments or questions?
Just document, I've lost this thing here. Somebody can help me with this. I got to clicking too many buttons.
I finally opened two, so I could see clicking back and forth.
I'm afraid I'll be like David if we don't. No, I noticed that there's a lot of southern, got a lot of projects going on. And I was in Hattiesburg last week, and I thought it was kind of strange, not strange, from the southern standpoint, from the inbound standpoint.
There you go.
They're doing a lot of work on Highway 49.
I like your style.
I hope they started as well before that.
I'll just.
Because people moving in now.
Go ahead. What do you need?
Get up.
Yeah. Well, so this,
2 weeks
yeah,
away.
this
But,
will
you
be,
know,
this will be.
Yeah.
It's when you get
I'm trying to
one
figure out.
over
We got 4 lanes.
That's okay.
Turn lanes.
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That's going to be fun.
And I-59 is off out of too.
Oh, I-59, look, I'm going to Meridian if I go to Florida, I'm not going through that.
Or even around, okay, go.
So if you ain't got an extra day and a half, you're not getting through that.
All right, any other comments or questions on BOB? Next, let's go to OPSCR, emergency contracts. Questions?
I did,
Okay,
Tellsville State Center. Yeah, a couple.
Yes.
Technical difficulties on the procurement.
So, that, procurement, I think there's 2. They did solicitations and the contract, and then when we got it and looked at it, we realized that they had never posted their solicitation on the procurement portal in the buying phone Mississippi. And so that is a statutory requirement, and so we told them, like, it's not really something to be fixed on the back end. And those solicitations to cover that. So they're, I don't know if I was.
Well, but I see some for y'all, and even though they didn't follow all, but you say that.
Yeah.
The fairness and the.
Right.
Documentation process may not be perfect, but it did impact the fairness of that.
Right, and this, I think, outside of the statutory requirement, I think, because that's kind of where it's posted for people to see it, know that it's out there. If you aren't looking at their website every day, if you don't subscribe to the newspaper, and that, they did post in those 2 places. So that we do think there's like a competition issue there, or fairness issue there, because the public notice didn't go out everywhere in those 2 places.
And I have one more question.
all right, so just on that, I don't know if somebody's online from Ellisville, I hear. Sounds like somebody's trying to chime in, but, so are they planning to resolicit? And the emergency is just to get them to the
It's
period.
temporary.
Yeah, I believe these are both things that they will need past that year.
Okay, next.
And also,
Also, Lindsay, and Beverly, they should be on the line, but it was.
We are, yes.
Morning.
But the question was most, can you repeat it?
are y'all gonna re-solicit for those two?
Yes, we are, yes. The emergency contract is only for 1 year. Yes, we plan to resolicit during that time period.
Okay, thank you. And I was gonna do a point of clarification, to your point. You will often see us asking y'all to waive some regulatory requirements if we decided what they did was still sufficient.
Yeah.
But we will never ask y'all to waive, a statutory requirement, because we can't do it.
Okay, well, and I understand, and that's the reason I was asking that, because that seemed, that part right there, when you said statutory, that makes a whole difference between just, well, we did it.
That's right.
Yeah.
If we can fix it, we try to fix it, but if it's something that's required under the law, we're kind of.
Most of us don't look in the arm.
And
Mr. McLeod.
another question from Mr.
Well.
Another question I have, you've got with CPS, this Nexus Neuro Recovery. We got a modification, $3,000 on a $6.5 million contract. You could find $3,000 somewhere in there. Or is that a typo? Yeah, okay, now.
So it is not a typo, but I will say that there was an additional trial of this. In addition to the contract, there are 70 placed with this vendor. I will say some of these contracts, if you go down the agenda, if y'all are so gracious to approve the contracts today, they will be transferred to the new contracts that y'all approved because they did a beautiful solicitation.
So this is a temporary to get us to
Yes,
the, yeah.
Those 11.
They're not depending on everything is now going to be into an approved contract, but you know, as you say, sometimes if the child, there might be something, some children are Texas. Because if they require some special therapeutic assessments, whatever. So, you know, when they come to your doorstep and then doorstep in a little basket, you got 12, 24 hours of like you should.
I understand, and I know that the ship for $3,000 is just.
It seems like,
Yeah.
but that, I understand.
Yeah.
And I will say a lot of these contracts, so I did a little assessment, and PBS would probably confirm this, almost for specific contracts, they have only spent $1,845,800 in the contract. Now, that does not mean all the have deals. However, they did this emergency contract based on 365 days based on that rate of that child. So a lot of these numbers are not intent, but because they have the year, they want to be very comfortable to make sure that child is taken care of.
I know they have a lot of federal regulatory oversight that they have to deal with, understand that. It's just that every time, seems like every month, we see something from CPS and, you know, this time there's 11 letters and that.
Mhm.
But if they're taking care of business, that's what we're hoping.
I won't make it more, but I will say that the emergency contract should shorten with this new procurement that you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments? Next, OPSCR sole source. There's none there. OPSCR staff approvals.
I had one question here, let me pull it up. I can get it on my. It won't show up on the computer. It's on, but this is the very last one is Child Protective Services. Look at the very last one.
Very last page.
Yeah, the very last page.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Staff approval for these for traditional group home for $170,000 on an emergency. What's it doing here rather than an emergency? What's the distinction between the 8 letters we got for emergencies and millions of dollars and this showing up here on staff approval.
I think that's that contract is on the emergency report.
It was just double. It should have just been on the emergency and not on this one.
It's only emergency and this one, so it's just, it's an error.
We'll remove this from the staff approval report for the minute.
Okay, all right. And the second question I got is, the other one was, Mississippi Public Safety. Why all the exemptions for them? I mean, the auditing is a statutory exemption. There's one up here that one of the auditing firms.
That's right. Auditing is one of the statutory exemptions that is exempt for all state agencies, not just public safety.
Why is that? I mean, you know, that's I'm sorry, what?
It's just one of the listed professional services in that statute. I don't know the reasoning, but there's
Accounting,
a
engineering,
long list.
legal, those three primarily are exempt from procurement.
Physicians have gone in and out of the, but they're currently not exempt, but they have been.
Okay. But that's
I don't know what's the thought is.
what the rationale behind it. You would think, you know, that would be a competitive.
And to even complicate that even more, at the federal level, if you're using federal funds, there's a procurement requirement for that. So an agency cannot fall back on state. It'd be a compliance exception at the federal level in order to get funds. And Mississippi is one of the few that actually exempt professional services from procurement requirements.
All right.
So that's not specific to public safety. That's just a statutory exemption for all state agencies.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, no other questions. Let's move on to the legislative reports. We do need approvals here. We have the sole source, emergency and sole source contracts, letters attached. Any questions, thoughts? Or do we have a motion to approve first and then have discussion?
Make a motion to approve it.
So
All right, any discussion over these?
I had one quick question I'd ask Ross is, David Parker, is he still legislature?
No, sir.
He's not. Okay, so who?
I think, didn't he resign?
I think he resigned.
I think he
Steve,
resigned.
I knew his name was this redistricting and stuff up there, and I didn't know if he resigned. Who would it go to as opposed to him?
I didn't see what
The letters addressed. to
The letter's addressed to him as chairman of.
I don't know that Lieutenant Governor. was
Has he
appointed
appointed
as
anybody?
chairman. No, that he has.
And it's not a big thing, but I didn't think that Senator Parker was still there, but I wasn't real sure about
He's
it.
not, but in the old days when I lived over there, it went to when you open the mail.
Went to the chairman.
But we'll make sure we verify. I haven't seen an appointment. That doesn't mean he hasn't done it.
Yeah. Like I said, it just, when I was looking at it, I said, I think he's not there.
No, he's not.
Okay. Okay. Might need to take a look at that.
Yeah, we'll make sure we have the name. I just haven't seen an appointment yet, which doesn't mean it hadn't happened.
All right, so do we have all in favor of approving these with an adjustment for that later if we need to, for the namesake? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so the item's been approved. All right, our next item here, under OPTFM.
Meeting this with Office of Person and Travel, if we don't have any objections, we can take the first three together. They are both with NDOT and they're both extension. The first one, Trax Plus for $1,495,500 for plane loaders. The second one is with Trax Plus for hydraulic, $1,999,000. Both of these were approved by this board on March 1st, 2023, and all extensions have been approved by this board As follows: on August 2nd, 2023, February 7th, 2024, August 7th, 2024, and February 5th, 2025. This is going to be the 5th of 9 possible 6-month extensions for both of these contracts. The OPTFN is recommending approval of both extensions.
Heard staff recommendation, do we have a motion?
Move approval of these items. Check.
A motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item.
This item is the Michigan Department of Health, the Abbott Laboratories, the amount of $708,838.60. Health, solicited competitive seal bids for the Women, Infant, and Children Program. They received 2 responses from the solicitation and will be awarding to Abbott Laboratories. OPTFN is recommending approval of this contract.
We've heard staff recommendation, do we have a motion?
So move. Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, it's been approved. Item number 4.
It's with Mississippi Fire Academy in the amount of $1,329,575. The Fire Academy is recommending the purchase of a gas fuel live fire training system. They required upgraded props and software to their fire trainer Q2000 to facilitate and you all may remember this from the June meeting. This came from, but they increased the scope, increased the amount, so it's and OPTFN recommends approval of this contract.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move approval of these items. Check. This item. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, next item.
Next item is for the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, now $3.5 million. They're requesting research, design, fabrication, installation of exhibits for the National Tribal History Center. Archives will be responsible for artifact selection and acquisition and coordination with the selected firm. OPTFN is recommending approval.
You heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second.
A motion is second. Any questions?
Yeah, okay, yes, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is gonna be, is this in Natchez? Natchez Tribal History Center, is that in Natchez?
So I don't know. Is someone from Archives there for sure on the line?
Yes, this is Joey Roberts. I'm in the finance office and it is in Natchez.
Okay, all right, I was just curious on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Joey.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I just checked with the Lieutenant Governor's office and Chairman Parker is the chairman until November.
Okay.
And then in the new elections, then the Lieutenant Governor will appoint a new chairman in January.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for this Department of Archives and History, item 5? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, it's been approved. Item 6.
Is with the Mississippi Department of Transportation, we have $1,027,830 for the purchase of 30 2025 Ford F-150s from the state contract. These vehicles are going to be used to replace some DOT's fleet. OPTFN is recommending approval of this contract.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move approval of this item. Check.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item is approved. Next, Bill B. Consideration of change, item 1.
The first item is in the opposite change order which exceeds 25%. It's to the Bolton Building, which is the DFA Office of Public Facilities, 374010, ARPA mitigation to Universal Services LLC. The original contract sum is $3.2 billion with a net previous change orders of $791,081.34. The total value of this change order is $275,605.80. The change order scope is to remove all 6 floor designated banquet units for bagging and removal from the building, remove any necessary sheetrock to facilitate the installation of new piping with insulation, paint, patch, and repair any removed or damaged sheetrock,
during removal and installation of fan floor units and piping, seal floor with penetrations with fire rated spray foam, put access doors on all bed SCUs to allow for the installation of new piping and insulation. Ensure the mitigation company cleans the spaces behind the new fan floor unit prior to installation and provide and install additional fan floor units that are missing from original drawings. PAB recommends PPRB approval contingent upon executable.
That was a mouthful. Do we have, that had a lot of work too. We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move approval with question.
Second, we have motion second, we have question. Woman?
From 3.2 million to basically 4.2 million, basically $1 million.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Two things. Number one, it says ARPA mitigation. Was there additional ARPA funds available that was going to take care of this, or what is the funding source that would take care of this? And I guess the other side of this is, why would this not have been in the original contract?
When we started doing the fan units, there was discovery of a lot of stuff that had to be mitigated. So we, because it's an old hospital,
Right.
There's a lot of issues with it. And so we have to, when you start doing the construction, there's lighting conditions.
Okay, I was just curious that,
Yeah.
that this was.
It was supposed to be a 1-to-1, but when you remove old stuff, you find new
You find
problems.
3 other problems that go on. Yeah, it just seemed like that we just added $1 million to the project, and wow.
I think when you go into projects like this, where they're old buildings, it's not super annual or
All this money had to be obligated,
Yeah.
by a certain date.
Yeah.
So we bid, this started and it was after the date of the obligation, but the Fed sent down a new ruling where if you had money in the pot for similar projects, we could use that additional money. And so that's what we did.
Well, I mean, I think it's great that we had the funds to do this. I understand, I mean, I've been out of Bowden, and I know what you're talking about, but it's just a lot of money. And
It is.
I didn't know if there was something in the original contract that
No.
said, this wasn't like,
Just like in this building, we're doing the same thing with the air, doing, to make the air cleaner, you're putting the thermostats in, different things like that. And you can do that with ARPA money. So we're doing it all over state government. And so Bolton was the next logical place to do it.
thank you.
Any other question?
I've got a question.
Yes.
What's that FCU?
A fan floor unit is the air conditioning unit that is located in the wall.
Each of their offices have individual air conditioners like, because it's an.
Like a
old
hotel,
building.
Like the old style?
Like mini splits.
Yeah, like a mini split for their part room, but a different application.
Kind of like an old hotel with all the individual rooms.
Boy, it is an old spot, isn't it?
I think the capital for fan floor units as well.
The what?
Fan floor units.
Yeah, and the same things over at the Capitol,
Okay.
they're just covered in some fancier covering.
Yeah.
That's what you say, because I hadn't seen too many mini splits hanging around the outside of it.
No, but we're doing the same thing over there. So we're trying to improve the air quality, temperature, everything while we've got ARPA money, because that is a purpose. An approved use of the money from the.
One of those original 4 ones.
Clean air. All right, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Next item, amended leases.
Real property management. First lease is amended lease with Mississippi Department of Employment Security in Forest, Mississippi for 6,800 square feet at a yearly cost of $87,379.93. $12.85 per square foot plus utilities and janitorial. Do have a correctional federal funds. Federal funds amounts to 100%. Purpose of the lease, this is the Wind Job Center for the Forest, Scott County area. This is a 2-year lease of no renewals. The agency has been at this location since November of 22. Our committee recommends the approval of this amendment.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
So, motion and second. Do we have any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, item has been approved. Next item, Ellisville.
Next item is Ellisville State School in Prentice, Mississippi, 4,685 square feet. The unit counts from $16,044 or $3.42 plus utilities and janitorial. This lease will house the activity center for the client's developmental disabilities. This is a 5-year lease with no renewals. This agency has been at this location since July of 20. RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, item has been approved. Next item.
Next amended lease is with the Department of Revenue in Tupelo, Mississippi for 1,950 square feet and a yearly cost of $31,200 or $16 per square foot plus utilities and janitorial. Purpose of the lease, this is the Tupelo District Office. This amendment extends the lease for an additional 5 years. There are no renewals. The agency has been at this location since October of 2019, and RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. A question, yes, sir.
At what point will they bid this? Again, next time?
Well, they, when the original bid, I think it was bid for 5 years. So they have, let's see here. They have one more amendment that they can do for 5 years. After that, they will have to bid.
Okay, all right.
I have a question and it actually applies to the previous two as well, but I noticed that we have the total space per occupant. It's not in the first two. Have the rules changed to allow for, or have we modified those for when we have the centers that really are not staffing spaces?
That's, well, when it's not really applicable for the particular lease, I don't put it in there.
Okay.
If the board wants me to, I can put it in.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's clearly those are, have involved lots of people coming and going, so it's really not an office type situation.
But I can eliminate that question. I can just put it in there.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because I think we created exceptions for those. So. All right, so on still an item here, Department of Revenue for this lease, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, no opposition. Next item.
Next item is a non-competitive lease with Mississippi Department of Revenue in Florence, Mississippi for 520 square feet or $1,800 a year. And it's $3.46, that's inclusive. This storage lease is for a utility trailer that is used by ABC personnel for alcohol awareness demonstrations. The trailer will be kept at the new ABC warehouse once the warehouse is finished. This is a month-to-month non-competitive storage lease with no renewals. Department of Revenue asked PPRB for a waiver on section 300.9 part 7 of the state leasing manual restricting the lease storage length to 18 months. Mississippi Department of and MDOR is asking for a 2-year space rental for the trailer. And it's they have a lot of different things in this particular trailer. They get demonstrations to high school students just to show the effects of alcohol on this life.
How do they do that?
Do what?
How do they do that? They go there and get a shot or something? Shot of whiskey?
Well, you can do virtual, all kinds of virtual.
Oh, kind of virtual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make you try to walk the line and everything else, and you can't do it.
Maybe there's something great.
It's a little too late for some of them.
RPM recommends the approval of this lease.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. A motion is second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
The next category is emergency lease. Mississippi Forestry Commission in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, 1,656 square feet. $12,000 a year, $7.25 plus utilities and janitorial. This is a one-year emergency lease that complies with 30.9 Section 3 of the state leasing manual. RPM recommends the ratification of this emergency lease.
We've heard staff recommendation. Have a motion.
Motion to approve.
So
Any questions?
where was it? Oh, was there anything down there?
Well, the building and the landlord changed hands about a year ago. And they had continuous problems with the current landlord of the property. The landlord finally said, for some reason, because of our payment system, which he knew the process of our payment system, and we had 45 days to pay invoices, couldn't live with that and kept sending us notifications, kept sending them notifications, and finally sent an eviction notice because of it. And so we just accepted the eviction notice and moved.
Shut me in.
All right, any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Well, hello, Ms. Ray. Do you want to take over from
I
here?
do.
You do?
No, sir, you've been doing,
Okay,
no, sir, you've
all
been
right.
doing just fine.
All right, thank you. I'll keep moving on. Glad to have you on board. All right, next item here, OPSCR, petition for reliefs.
Good morning, Chairman and members of OPSCR. This city board of pharmacy is requesting the use of a request for proposal with an anticipated term of 4 years with one optional 1 year renewal. The agency is seeking one contractor to provide a recovery program to protect the public as well as the well-being of the licensees. The agency contends that the use of an invitation for bids is neither practical nor advantageous because the agency needs to evaluate based on experience and not price. And price is not the most important factor for these services. Offers will be evaluated on technical weighted at 25%, management at 25%, and cost price weighted at 40%, and quality improvement and governance at 10%. OPSCR recommends approval of this report.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve with a question.
So
All right, the motion has been approved and seconded. Questions?
Mr.
Russell?
Is anybody with the Board of Pharmacy on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Avery Lee is here, General Counsel, and I believe Todd Deere is also on.
Yeah,
Todd Deere is here as well.
I was just inquiring, is there a lot of applications for this service? I mean, is there some kind of ongoing problem with the pharmacists and pharmacy students? What kind of response do you have on a year-to-year basis?
So as far as people in the program getting these type of support, we typically run around 40 participants. Currently, what's given to them is definitely oversight and compliance, but it's more peer in nature. And we really want to bring in some additional resources to where it's driven more by, addiction professionals. And so that'll be reflected in this RFP.
But what is the average time or usual time for somebody who enters this program to use it? Is it 2 year, 3 year, or ongoing?
It's 5 to 10 years, depending on what their medical evaluation states, but it's hardly ever less than 5, with the majority being 10. And it'll drop down in monitoring if they're doing well. After the first 5 years, it's less intensive on the monitoring, but they typically, if it's a drug-related issue, stay connected to the program a minimum of 10 years.
And so in order to, if their problem is determined, in order to keep their licenses, they must enroll in these programs and be monitored. Is that the deal?
That is the pathway, yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate your explanation of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
For sure.
Any other questions for pharmacy staff or not? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, it's all been approved. Next item, Both contracts for board action. First one, Mississippi State Hospital.
Angela Cooper with OPSCO. Item number one, Mississippi State Hospital has submitted a new contract with Trinity Rehabilitation Incorporated with a term of 4 years with one option of 1 year renewal in the amount of $1,625,034.48. The contract was submitted through an invitation for bids with 2 respondents and it was awarded to the lowest bidder. The contractor will provide professional rehabilitation services at the main campus located at Whitfield to all on-campus patient care divisions. The work shall consist of professional physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and hearing therapy management and treatment services. OPSCR recommends approval of this report.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move approval as recommended by staff.
Second with question.
All right, it's been motion and seconded with a question, Mr. Russell.
Yeah, does the state hospital, they don't have speech therapists and occupational therapies on staff full time? Is that, they just contract that out? That's pretty standard?
I'm not sure, but we can have someone on the line from Mississippi State Hospital.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Lee Martin, Mississippi State Hospital. We do not have physical therapists, occupational therapists. We do have 2 speech therapists, and they substitute for that area for speech. But for occupational and physical therapy, we do not have those on staff, and we have to contract that service out.
And is there a reason for that?
As far as why we don't, we stopped doing that 15 years ago. As far as the inner workings on why we chose to go contract, that was done 15 years ago. We have been using contractual vendors for this service.
And the reason for that, you say you stopped, is it just easier to go contract, or you couldn't find people to work, or couldn't pay them, or what's?
And that's a question there. You don't use these services full time, right? I mean, if you have a full time position, they may not be used full time, so you get these as you need them.
Well, it's as me. They come in on site and they provide these services per unit. They charge per unit of hours, not an hourly rate, but per unit per the time they're seeing each patient versus having someone on staff for the service.
They there daily or just like as needed, I guess.
They are about daily. They do a majority of the day as far as this service.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions here on this item?
I have just, you did an IFB. This seems to be somewhat specialized work, and a lot of the contracts that we see coming through ask for exemptions from this so they could go to a RFP or RFQ or something. I just wondered, is this stuff not that specialized that you could just do it on the price? Because isn't that what this is?
Yes, sir. The bid, you're going with the lowest bidder, but some of these agencies are real good at using these avenues for solicitation. And if you put in the work on the forefront, you can get real specific with your qualifications to make sure the only people who qualify and get to the price are really qualified professional people. So sometimes agencies will do that. If they don't need any kind of plan, they just want some certification, some experience, and a price, you can do it this way.
That's the best response I can think of right there, what you just said. They did a plan on the front side in order to get a price and not have to go through this long drawn out process of an RFP, RFQ.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So kudos to State Hospital.
Yeah.
Any other questions here? Hearing none, all in approval say aye.
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 All right, next item.
Item number 2, East Mississippi State Hospital has submitted 29 new contracts with the suppliers listed on the agenda with a term of 11 months with annual renewals in the amount of $85,087 each. These are contract workers that are registered nurses who will provide nursing services at East Mississippi Healthcare Facility. The contract workers were selected through a request applications with 29 respondents. Our respondents were awarded a contract and will be paid $38 per hour. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve based on staff rec.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? I have one just out of curiosity. I don't know if anybody from East Mississippi is on the line, but how many of these are continued contracts? I mean, like the same individual, then were you awarded a new contract? Roughly.
Andrea, are you on the line?
Have most of these been under contract and they're continuing?
Yeah, some of these are nurses that have already been on staff.
They're okay. So maybe. All right. No other questions. Anybody else with a question? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on. Next item, number 3, the State Department of Health.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Miller and I work with the PSCR. We have a new contract with the Mississippi State Department of Health between the University and Mississippi Medical Center. The term of the contract is 5 years with no optional renewals. The contractor will provide a physician specializing in the treatment and management of pediatrics tuberculosis for the agency. Pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 27147, to provide agencies under the purview of the PPRB may contract with government entities not under the purview of the PPRB without bidding or other solicitation. The agency has determined the price represents a fair market value for the service. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Approval as.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? Question on anybody from who is the State Department of Health is on the line, but so providing services to other government entities, are we looking at making these services available across the state to cities, counties, school systems, whatever? Is that the plan for this?
Hey, good morning. This is Dorothy Young with the Health Department. So for the pediatric tuberculosis, is that the one that you're asking for providing that to other entities?
Yes.
Yeah, so dependent upon the individual patient, we do sometimes have to interact with other agencies like Department of Corrections, Department of Mental Health, Division of Medicaid, CPS. It just depends upon the circumstances for the patient.
So it's primarily for other state entities as needed.
Yes.
Could be school systems as well.
Yeah, it could potentially be. So when someone is diagnosed with having active tuberculosis, the process for treating that can take 6 months or more with a daily medication regimen that has to be monitored 7 days a week. So it's a pretty intensive process, as well as assuring that the other family members that might be in the same household are not exposed.
Okay, so you utilize, I guess, like staff nurses and others and doctors at facilities that have them to help monitor, in addition to this primary contract being the
we
major.
have all of that additional staff in-house. It's the specialty of pediatric infectious disease on the physician side. There's only a couple of those in the state. So the interaction with others would be if they were in some type of congregate care setting where they wouldn't maybe be able to come into our clinics for care.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All right, it's been approved. Next item, DFA.
I'm Chelsea Stewart with PPRB, and I'm reporting a contract from the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration. The term of the original contract is 6 months with no renewals. The contractor provides on-site management and custodial services at the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum and the Mississippi History Museum. The agency originally determined exigent circumstances existed that prevented them from running a competitive solicitation due to the legislation introduced during the 2025 legislative session related to these services at the museums that made it impossible to determine the length of a resulting contract from any solicitation at that time. The governor of the state of Mississippi called for a special session for the 2025 legislative session that began on May 28, 2025 and ended May 29, 2025. And due to the late date of the special session and the pending legislation not passing, DFA has determined it needs to issue a 6-month extension for this exigent circumstance contract. Amendment 1 has been submitted to modify the consideration clause and extend the contract term for an additional 6 months. All the terms and conditions remain the same. Based on the agency's determination that the requirements for exigent circumstance have been met, OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve this item.
Second with a question.
All right, questions? Yes, sir, Ms. Russell.
Oh, so the special session was called, one of the things they were voting on or trying to pass was money for this, for the Civil Rights Museum.
So if y'all will recall, y'all saw this contract probably in January or February originally. And what happened, there was some potential legislation that was going to exempt the museums, and they were going to be able to contract for these types of services outside of the procurement regulations. And so they didn't want to spend the state's time and money and waste vendor time on a large solicitation that ultimately was going to have to be canceled if the legislation had passed. The legislation in the special session did not pass, so now they're back under the procurement law, and they are going to run, DFA is going to run a solicitation for these services, but they need 6 more months to get that procurement run in the interim.
So the legislation was not whether the money was there, it was whether they needed to go through the procurement process.
That's right.
Okay. That answers my question. Thank you.
And do we not have cleaning services on a competitive contract? I thought we did that.
We do, but if you can imagine, the museums require very specialized services, and our cleaning contracts are pretty general to try to get a competitive rate. So they just don't suffice for these.
Yeah, well, you have security issues and specialty items.
I think they have special floors that require special types of cleaning. And
right. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Right. Next item, CPS.
Hello, Norman Miller here again. Item number 5 is a new contract for the Mississippi Department of Transportation Services. The term of the contract is 5 years with no optional renewals. The contractors are trauma-informed providers that offer various emergency therapeutic placement and treatment services for complex children and youth who have experienced multiple placement changes. Services will be provided on an as-needed basis. The contractors were awarded a statewide contract from an invitation for bids with 10 vendors. Contracts were awarded to the lowest bidding and most qualified, responsive, and responsible bidders. Contracts were awarded to the lowest bidding, and we already read that. The agency requests an acceptance of PPRB of the state award regulations effective September 6, 2024, because it used the previous version of the rule for the solicitation. OPSDL has reviewed this request and has no concerns that granting the exception would affect the competition, fairness, or transparency of the procurement as the agency complied with regulations in the previous version of the rule. OPSDL recommends approval of this request contingent upon the exception of the request being granted, receipt of the required documentation and registration of the Mississippi Secretary of State, and the certificate of insurance.
We've heard the request from staff for approval of these 8 contracts, and these are, do we have a motion?
I move approval as recommended by staff.
And motion and second. Do we have any questions?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between these? Here you're soliciting contracts for these special needs children, yet we see the majority of emergency contracts come through for special needs children.
So if you'll
What's the difference?
These contracts are gonna be replacing those emergencies. Almost all of those emergencies, if you look at the end dates, they're either ending or ending real soon. And these are gonna take over for that. So those emergencies should go away if, the board approves these contracts.
I noticed that the letters, the emergency letters were all dated 8 months ago, September, somewhere along, is that right? Somewhere, I mean, yeah.
We have also requested this, well, especially for CPS, anytime that they are going to add money to a contract, we need an emergency letter. I need some more information on exactly why you're adding $100,000. So if you see some of those emergency contracts, they'll have like literally 4 letters from the contract and that sort of thing.
Well, so several of the modifications, like we come to. Okay.
One other question or comment. It's $325 million for the contracts we let out, and they're in Arkansas, Texas, Dallas, San Antonio. We can't, obviously like to see that money spent in state. It's just not.
Absolutely. Unfortunately,
Do we have, CPS on the line that could kind of walk us through what this looks like and what these contracts look like in these other states?
Good morning. This is Amelia Willis from the legal team at CPS. I believe the question was, why are we contracting with these out-of-state facilities? Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Just as part of it, and can you sort of explain the process?
Yeah, explain the process. That's a lot of money.
Yes, these children just have complex special needs that there are no in-state facilities that either have the capabilities or the beds to provide care for these children, which is why we did do this IFB and solicit so that we could have vendors on standby and thus eliminate the need to have so many emergencies when the need arises for a particular child.
I kind of got into some of this. It's like $1,500 a day per child. Is that kind of what this stuff costs?
Depending on the various needs, some children may be nonverbal, in a chair or in a bed, have just various levels of complex needs and care required.
Thank you for that.
And these are standby contracts, so these are up to these amounts. We may not be spending these amounts. Yes,
yeah, correct. Correct. We just want to make sure that we don't have to come back to you guys and try to get a modification or move anything else around.
Any other questions for staff or folks at CPS? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All have approved. Next item, 6.
Mississippi Department of Public Safety is requesting to modify their contract with Bose Selma Forensic in the amount of $110,276. The term of the original contract is 1 year with 4 optional 1-year renewals. Modification 1 has been implemented to increase the spending authority and update the consideration clause. All other terms and conditions of the original contract remain the same. OPSCR recommends approval of this request.
The board staff recommendation, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
So, a motion and a second. Any questions? I have one. So the actual individual cost of per unit of the function for the kids and or the service remains the same. It's just the spending authority is increased yet. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item has been approved. Next item.
Good morning, Trina Kelvin, OPSCR.
Ellisville State School is seeking to enter a contract with C&R Sanford LLC for $200,000. The term of the contract is 11 months with 4 optional 1-year renewals. The contractor will serve as the master plumber for the agency. This includes underground water and sewer infrastructure repair maintenance, indoor water and sewer maintenances, lift stations, lagoon sewage maintenance, food service equipment maintenance, and various other duties, along with being knowledgeable of operating a backhoe front-end loader. The contractor was selected through an IFB with 2 respondents and was awarded to the lowest bidder. The agency requests an exception to PPRB OPSCR rules and regulations 5.1 and 5.6 because certain required content was left out of the solicitation and the notice of intent to award. OPSCR has reviewed the request and has no concerns that granting the exception will affect the competition, fairness, or transparency of the procurement. OPSCR recommends approval of this request contingent upon the exception request being granted and receipt of the required certificate of insurance.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion? A second.
Motion to approve based on staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any questions?
One quick, the first term is 11 months for 200,000. The rest of them are 200,000 for a year.
I have Nancy and Beverly is on the phone with Ellisville.
It would increase it by that 1 month. Because when we renew it, it'll be for a year, not 11 months.
I think you're asking about the cost.
Yes.
Would the cost not be prorated for the first year for 11/12 of 200,000?
Correct.
Is it a month? Year? Okay.
So the first year is not 200,000, correct?
The first 11.
Are y'all paying monthly or is this an annual fee?
Monthly.
It'll be 11/12 of the 200,000 with the 200,000 cap. Correct?
Yes. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so I mean, we're only talking about 1 month difference on this. I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yes.
Less than 20,000 with that, or something.
A little less than $1 million.
Another question. What were the items that were left out? I mean, if there's what was the severity of those?
It was they had it on the portal, but they offered debriefing, but it was not in the notice of intent.
Okay.
And this is one of those rules, not a statute.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, so we've heard staff recommendation. We've had questions. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. As have it, next item. Department of Oz. Something happens behind the curtain. Behind the curtain. Oz. You stretch those S's out. It sounds southern, mid-Oz. Good morning.
With the Office of Statewide. The first contract we present to you today comes from the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration, the BEAM program. BEAM stands for Broadband Expansion and Accessibility of Mississippi. BEAM presents this contract for your consideration. It's amendment number 1 to the contract with Michael Baker International. The contract term is September the 5th, 2024 to September the 4th, 2025. The total value of the contract is $400,000. Amendment 1 is a no-cost modification to update the scope of services and list of deliverables to comply with a June National Telecommunications and Information Administration policy notice. This notice restructures the BEAM program. Restructures the notice in part
requires states to conduct engineering feasibility assessments to consider the feasibility of projects that do not use fiber as the primary technology for delivery of broadband services. Contractor will assess the feasibility, technical viability, and long-term sustainability of alternative technologies such as fixed wireless, low Earth orbit satellite, coaxial cable, and hybrid models. This work must be completed within 90 days. As a result of the required BD program restructuring and the abbreviated schedule, the agency is requesting retroactive approval of the scope as well as an increase in the contractor's all-inclusive blended hourly rate. This rate will increase from $175 per hour to $196.81 per hour, effective July 1, 2025. The rate increase accounts for additional services and technical expertise required to implement the new NTIA requirements within the abbreviated timeline. Staff recommends approval of this request.
We have heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion and second?
Motion approved.
Second.
Right, questions?
Because it compressed the time, they're increasing the cost. Hourly rate.
So the compressed schedule is part of it. They also have, the federal government has dropped some additional requirements that require some additional expertise.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense than it says now we have 60, but we're gonna charge more to do it 60. But if you got additional requirements, I can understand
I
that.
think they had to hire some additional technical experts.
And the next item extends this a year, so that's or longer.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Should shut up and wait.
Well, no, I've already asked the question over here. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around what's going on, but yes. All right, so we've had questions answered. Any other questions on this modification? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Item has been approved. The next item.
The next item is also the FAB with Michael Baker International. This is amendment number 2. The contract, which will be reflected on the minutes, is September 5th, 2024 through December 31st, 2025. Again, the total value of this contract is $400,000. This is also a no-cost modification. The agency seeks to extend the original contract end date from September 4th, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 to ensure that FEAM is able to meet the NTIA requirements as stated in Amendment 1. The agency has determined that exigent circumstances exist that require an extension of their original contract. At the time of the original contract, the agency did not perceive the need for any renewals. As a result of the changes implemented by the NTIA as stated in Amendment 1, FEAM has determined that it needs to issue a 4-month extension for this contract in order to ensure that it is compliant with NTIA policy notes. Based on the agency's determination that the requirements for the exigent circumstances have been met, OSSS recommends approval of this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion and second?
Move approval of this item.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we have any questions? I think this answers some of the previous questions. That's what, yeah.
All of them.
All of them. Extend it through the end of the calendar year.
Recommend as modified, as suggested for that day.
That's correct.
Okay.
So any other questions, comments? Hearing none, motion, all in favor, say aye.
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 It's been approved. Next item, HEMA.
Mississippi Employment Management Agency presents for your consideration a new contract with O'Brien's LLC. The correct contract term, which will be reflected in the minutes, is August the 6th, 2025 through August the 5th, 2026. The total value of the contract is $88,462. The term of the agreement is for 1 year with 3 optional renewals. The contractor was updated to provide hazard mitigation plan. Per FEMA planning regulations, The plan is required to be updated every 5 years and addresses the mitigation of natural hazards such as severe storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, winter weather, drought, water supply failures, and others. The District 5 mitigation plan will include the districts and jurisdictions listed on your agenda. The contractor was selected through an invitation for bids with 4 bidders. The agency and the lowest bidder failed to reach agreement on contract terms. As a result, MEMA rejected the lowest bid and exercised its right to contract with the next lowest bidder. Staff recommends approving this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion and second?
I move approval based on staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we have any questions or comments?
So, yes, so the state's doing this and not the individual governmental entities. Is that correct? As I read this?
MEMA is the entity. They have hired this vendor, but after the contract, PPRB provide information and actually do the update as required by FEMA. So FEMA requires them to update their hazard mitigation plan every 5 years. Well, I had one like this for District 3, I believe it was last month that we approved. So this is District 5 for the same services.
Okay, the reason I'm asking the question is that you've got some counties, some municipalities.
They are broken out into districts. I believe that's a FEMA regulation, how they split them up.
I would have just thought that the hazard mitigation plan, Puckett would fall under the Rankin County hazard mitigation plan. That's the reason I was asking.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is MEMA on the line to respond to that question?
What was the question again?
As we're looking at all the governmental entities that you're putting the District 5 hazard mitigation plan together, the town of Puckett, would it not fall under the Rankin County hazard mitigation plan, or do they have separate and distinct for every governmental entity in a county?
Yeah, apparently this falls under not just Rankin County, but it falls under the district lines. The way that the state of Mississippi is divided up within our mitigation. So Puckett falls under Rankin County, and they probably have a mitigation plan with Rankin County, but this is state district.
So the rules under a hazard mitigation plan for Puckett under this could be different from the hazard mitigation plan established by Rankin County, because Puckett is in a different district than Rankin County.
In a sense, yes, sir. There are different rules.
Don't understand that at all. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Federal government, God loves. All right. Any other questions? All right. So do we have approval as amended with the date? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next item, marine resources.
The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources presents for your consideration a new contract with Gulfstream Transport and Salvage LLC. Correct contract term, which will be reflected in the minutes, is August 6, 2025 to June 30, 2026. The total value of the contract is $249,500. The initial term of the contract is approximately 11 months with one optional no-cost renewal. The contractor will transport and deploy concrete material or bars from the bulkhead at Bolingbrook, Mississippi Repair to the reef site selected by the agency. The material will create new reefs and or enhance existing reefs in need of replenishment due to storm damage or subsidence, which is the downward vertical sinking movement of the reef. The contractor was the sole respondent to the IFB and was deemed responsive and responsible. The agency determined that other prospective bidders had a reasonable opportunity to respond and to the best of the agency's knowledge, the intended awardee reasonably anticipated and competing bids may be submitted. The agency also determined that the price submitted for these services is reasonable. Based on this finding, the agency determined that it is in its best interest to award the contract to the single responsible bidder. OSSS recommends approval of this request.
We've heard staff recommendation. Do we have a motion and second?
Move approval of this item.
Second question.
A motion and a second. Questions? Mr. Russell?
Question I have is, there's a statement in here that says, to the best of agency's knowledge, the intended awardee reasonably anticipated competing bids may be submitted. What's that got to do with anything?
That's competition, and that to me also reflects the agency's belief that the vendor did not collude with anyone to get this particular contract. That there were other vendors.
So just say we know somebody else is going to bid, so we're not going to partner up with them or price fix or something like that.
Yeah,
that's kind of what that. There in your solicitation for bids, there's language in there that says we won't collude in price fix.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and they have to, and this, the submitting contractor has to sign off on it that they did not do that in their contract. Okay.
Yes, sir. And when there's a single bidder like this, you just want the agency to be sure and to affirm that there is an opportunity for competition.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And you got to enjoy the PPRB meetings to be able to learn new words. Subsidence. That's now been added to my vocabulary.
What word is that?
It's right in the 5th line, subsidence, which is for sinking of material.
Okay. Oh, substance.
Subsidence, yeah.
Substance. Okay.
So if the concrete sinks into the soils or, then you can replace it. Any other comments, questions? All right, so do we have all in favor of approving this with the modification of the date as requested? Contract, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, next item, other business. The next meeting is September the 3rd.
I have one announcement.
Okay.
I am sad to report that today is going to be Amy's last PPRB meeting with DFA. She is not leaving state government. She has been stolen by one of my esteemed prior colleagues, who I hope is on the line listening. And she is going to the Division of Medicaid. So she will be greatly missed, and she has been a wonderful addition to the team.
Medicaid just has a problem right now from us.
That's right.
Say those next items get approved.
Well, let's see. Let's see how next month goes. Yep.
Amy, we will miss you.
Everyone in here.
You may have just lost your job. It's like,
just wait till you come back and ask
protest.
Any other items? Mr. Russell, you're one of our favorite colleagues to approve the next item for adjournment.
So moved.
So we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Well, these contracts get shorter. I mean, when I first started here, these things were 25 and 30